We're in Leogang to find all the hottest downhill and enduro tech. I know that there's going to be lots and lots. There's been a new group set released. Let's go and find it. Okay, we're at Norco Race Division. That's their factory race team. We've got a very special bike here, and it's an iteration of a bike that we saw earlier in the year, actually. Hardcore tech nerds will remember that we saw Danny Hart's race bike at the Core Show earlier this year, and now we've got his latest race bike. It's still in prototype form. I was chatting to the mechanic, and there's over 5,000 different combinations of reach adjustment, head angle, bottom bracket, rear centre, front centre, progression on the shock. There's even adjustments on the chain idler. There's actually 4 different positions that you can set the chain idler in. They've got 2 different idler tooth counts, all of which will tune how the suspension can feel, modify that anti-squat. There's loads of adjustment going on with the shock as well. As you can see it here, we've got all of this data acquisition on here. So this is going to record race run data to help them set the suspension up exactly right. And you can see this rear chainstay. I mean, it is a chainstay, or in the place of a chainstay. Technically, it's sort of a suspension link. It's wrapped in carbon. This is to help with the stiffness on the back end of the bike, so to help boost the stiffness. That's what they're playing with. We've got adjustable dropouts as well, which help change that rear centre. And the big thing with this Norco bike is that all these different factors can be changed independently. And a good example of that would be the reach adjustment. Quite commonly, we've got reach adjustment on lots of different bikes, and that changes the distance effectively from where the pedals are to where the bars and where the stem are, and it's going to kind of change that reach, move it forward or move it back. But when you play with reach and you lengthen the front of your bike, you're also going to change things like, well, the front centre and the wheelbase, and that will affect bottom bracket height as well. So Norco have been very, very clever. With these reach adjustments, they've also got a different cup that sits in there, which offers up, well, kind of standard height. So when they're changing the reach, all they're changing is the reach. They're not changing any other bits. A very fascinating bike. On tech, we like to find, well, the very latest in tech and the most cutting edge and the most exciting. We like to find prototypes and stuff that we probably shouldn't see. But then we've got a bike here that I think you really need to see. Why? Well, because it's a race-winning bike, and it's a really interesting build, and it shows that, well, prototypes are great, but you don't actually have to have prototypes. You don't actually have to have a lot of high-tech stuff. This is Dan Booker's bike. He won the Enduro race just, well, last weekend or the weekend before, and, well, it's a really interesting build. It's a Bronson. It's a mixed wheel size setup. We've got big, sensible fat tyres. We've now got a downhill casing on the back. That's a guy. Up front, we've got this new shape high roller, aka High Roller 3 on the back. And then the rest of the build is just wonderfully his. We've got Bergtech high-rise bars. They're the 35mm clamp, and they're, I think, 780. So they're pretty wide, but not mega wide. We've got a flight attendant too. And we've got a coil shock in there too, which is probably something you might not see. The flight attendant is working all the time, Dan says. He does have a manual lockout as well, so he can just lock it out if there's maybe a road climb. But the rest of the time, he just leaves it really active. It's just really good to see, just like a classic all-round bike that, well, is really, really fast in the right hands, and it's really reliable. It's great stuff. We've said it is a pretty much stock build, but there's lots of nice little details. Got a little bit of tape here holding on some quick links. Very clever. We've also got this inner foam section covering the front brake. You might be wondering, why have you got that? Well, normally this bike would have a race board on because it's a race bike. And when you put a race bike on, sometimes you're going to get flap and you're going to get rattle. But with this little bit of foam on, it cuts all that noise down. So it means that Dan can just crack on winning races on flat pedals. Yeah, good stuff. We're at Commencal Muck-Off, and we've got one of the Commencal Supreme DH bikes. There's a lot going on. We've got a flight attendant. We've got Maven brakes that are so powerful. Myriam Nicole, whose bike this is, has switched down to smaller rotors. 180 on the back. That's unheard of for downhill bikes. Other stuff is, well, we've got a lot of flight attendant stuff and some black box stuff. Very interesting. Not sure what it is or what's going on. Team are very tight-lipped, but it's something to do with how the flight attendant works. Interesting stuff. We're in the Aeon Racing pits. Very nice too, quite roomy, quite spacious. And we're joined by the wonderful, very, very quick on basically any bike. Actually, probably unicycle too, Hattie Harnden. And I'm saying her name correctly this time because fans out there will realise I said it wrong before. Okay, bike looks amazing. We did a bike check on it fairly recently. But have you done any changes here for Leogang?
Yeah, I'm kind of running a similar sort of tyre setup to normal. I've changed the Schwalbe tyres around a little bit, but everything else, like the wheels are the same, like everything else is the same as like I had it at the last couple of World Cups. But yeah, like just swapped around with the tyres a little bit. So yeah, most things, you know, we don't really have to play with. Everything's very reliable. Everything holds up well. So it's pretty easy going, I feel like, for my mechanic Pascal.
Very good, thank you. That's what we like, easy for a mechanic.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Okay, top bike and dog chat here. This is Aeon Racing's Finnish dog. Bit of an itch there. Have you got any thoughts on this weekend? There you go, you heard it from the dog. Lots of exciting chat there. More news later. We're at Yeti and we've got a design classic. This is the SB160. This is JT Fisher's, so it might not be quite as winning as Richie Rude's, but this is a very, very fast bike nonetheless. In terms of spec and features, well, we've got lots of standard bits that you expect, lots of nice Bergtech parts. We've got the transfer post. This one is a 210 one that's been shimmed down to 205. Lovely little detail. We've got a spare tube on there. JT tells us that he carries his multi-tools and all the other parts. And oh yeah, the other cool feature of this is the Shimano pedals, of course. We don't see Shimano clip-in pedals that often, but here they are. Oh, of course, yeah, you've noticed, haven't you? Yep, the new XTR, yep, the M9200, yeah, here it is. This is the Enduro race one as well. So JT's gone for the smaller cassette, 945. Is also down to a 30-tooth chainring up front. It is really cool looking. This is apparently the first time that JT's used it, and he loves the intuitive feel of the lever and the shifter that looks, well, like a shifter. Doesn't look like anything else. Buttons are where you might expect them. It's got the new brakes as well, so as raced and as developed by the Yeti team. There is something which I can't really talk about. I can tell you it's got 170mm of travel. It's got a lot of adjustment dials, all of the ones that you might expect on a high-end enduro fork. It's an inverted design. It's a Fox inverted design. Beyond that, can't tell you anything. There's a guy there that'll just sort of take me out if I say any more. He's got a taser. I don't want it to happen. But yeah, thing of beauty. We can't show you actually in the Scott pits, but we can see just riding past that there is a new Gambler in the works. It looks very close to being finished. Lots of carbon fibre parts. The rear end looks carbon fibre. The front end looks, well, carbon fibre as well. Lots of it's hidden in a kind of, well, stealthy Scott sort of way, as they do on lots of their trail bike and XC bikes. What's underneath? Well, we're not really sure, but it looks like it might be a 6-bar suspension bike. I guess it's going to have the same sort of 200, 210-ish mil of travel, but, well, time will tell. Here we are outside the Atherton pits with Charlie Hatton's amazing Atherton AG, because we're additive manufacturing, G for Gates belt drive, and it does have a Pinion Smart Shift gearbox. Yes, we've done a whole show on this bike. Well, actually, it was a previous bike, a previous version, a previous prototype, because that's the key, is that this is a prototype. It's still a work in progress. There's a few little secrets that we can now reveal about it. It's running a 9-speed gearbox. Previously, people were, well, thinking it was a standard 12-speed. Not the case. Other terms of features, it's very similar to the bike we saw before. So we've got Hayes Dominion brakes, we've got FSA gradient bar, we've got a KFX seat post. The bars are actually the new shape, so they're a 25mm rise, a little bit of a different sweep, designed just for the Athertons, but you can go and buy one. It's the alloy bar, it is the 31.8 clamp, new gradient stem there as well. It's adjustable from 45 to 50. Charlie has it in the, well, 45 we're going to say. In terms of little trick features, I mean, it is a really blingy bike with lots of, well, big tech on it. You've got that gearbox, you've got a belt drive, you've got carbon tubes with titanium 3D printed lugs. But we have got all of that attention to detail that you expect from a top tier bike. We've got lots of little soft touch Velcro where cables might rub so it keeps the noise down. Back to those brakes, I should mention these are Galfa rotors. So Galfa are a separate sponsor of the team. They are a little bit thicker than sort of the stock Hayes rotors, and they are the shark pattern from Galfa. Galfa do lots in motorsport, and these ones have got a little shark fin on the inside, which is said to actually aid with heat management. And you might think, oh, it's just marketing, it's a little shark fin shape. But actually having more material on there means that it can transfer heat more effectively, which should mean the brakes will work more efficiently. In terms of rotor size, we've got a 203 on the back. Can't believe that that's a 203 on the back. That is huge. And then a 223 up front. Really, really big stoppers. And they're required here in Leogang because the track is even faster than it's been before. Tyres-wise, we've got 2.4, I believe. Sometimes they try 2.6, but it's the Cryptotal front and rear. So big and burly. Should be a very fast bike. Wonder where it'll end up this weekend. YT Mob Pits. It's expanded massively. Last year they had kind of a little small, very nice setup. Now they've got a really big kick-ass trailer. But it's not just the big trailer that's hiding in these pits. No, there's some new secret stuff on Vali's bikes. It looks a lot like signature grips and a signature saddle. There's new SRAM DH pedals as well. Maybe there's more on there? We'll have to just find out as the year goes on. Okay, before me lies a wonderful giant glory. And it's wonderful because it's Remi Thirions. It's also wonderful because Ben, mechanic here at Giant for a while, and a World Cup mechanic of legend, has prepped it. So it is immaculately clean, polished, and just really nicely spec'd. So it's a medium-large glory. That much is sort of normal. We've got mixed wheel size. In terms of tyres, we're on Maxxis. Rolling up, we've got wheels. That's what we're meant to be calling them. And then drivetrain-wise, it is a Shimano-sponsored team, and it is a classic. It is the Saint group set, which, if we're looking just at downhill, is probably one of the winningest group sets because not only is it very good, it's been around quite a while. Slight difference to that spec is when we move to the brakes, because we've got the XTR levers. So originally designed, it's the sort of M9100 group set, and it's designed to be kind of run, for XC. It is the trail lever, so it has got an adjuster, and then we've got Saint calipers, so it is really burly. And sneaked in, there is a little, something sneaked in behind the number board. We've done a video on what it might be. It might be a tuned mass damper. So it's interesting that these little tweaks of tech are creeping in faster and faster. The other thing that I can see on the wheels, just if I look closely, is a little weight. In general, wheels are exceptionally balanced, but when you put a tyre on, sometimes there can be minor imperfections. And at these ultra-fast speeds that the racers are now tackling, that sort of mild, sort of out of balanceness, it is really subtle, can have a kind of an effect and a feeling. So, it looks like Ben is in the camp of tuning the wheels. So he'll be putting the tyres on, setting the wheels up in a touring stand, and then balancing them out. It's something that they're doing in MotoGP, and it is maybe the next level. Zerode bikes. Well, it's a brand you might not have heard of, but you should have heard of, because there's a lot of hype and a lot of noise about this 100k belted purse from Gates Belt Drive. But actually, Zerode have been making belt drive and gearbox bikes for a long, long time. So, this bike has had a lot of laps on already. This one's Ellie Farina's, and she's actually won a World Cup already. So maybe she and MS Racing could win that 100k prize. Time will tell. Okay, we're outside the FMD Orbea team, a team that we've done lots of stories on, and we've featured the Rallon DH, Orbea's first DH bike and, winning DH bike, because it's already won a World Cup, which is amazing. But just looking at Martin Mays' bike, and it's got some unusual pedals, a little bit different. Not just different colour, but the body is quite different. We'll try and see what they are and find out a little bit more, but maybe prototype, we may get blanks. We'll try and find out. Mechanics were very tight-lipped, so yeah, I mean the innards look like they're Crank Brothers in terms of it's got the winged spindle that Crank Brothers is so famous for, that kind of spins around and you get loads of easy access. The body is completely different. It doesn't have any of the kind of features that a normal Crank Brothers mallet would have. It doesn't have the chamfered edges. It doesn't really have the pins in the same spot either. It doesn't have the traction pads. What is it? Just have to watch this space and find out. We've seen the main YT pits. Now there's another YT pit. And in this one, well, there's some interesting bikes. There's some Enduro bikes and some DH race bikes with some unusual unmarked shocks and suspension forks. They're intriguing. They're really interesting. Who are they from? Well, rumours around a bigger suspension brand moving from automotive. Possibly beginning with a B, maybe a Bilstein. We're not sure. They look really interesting. As soon as we find out more, we'll let you know. Intense Factory Racing have got a really cool setup. Not only they've got prototype bikes with gearboxes and belt drives, they've also got these wonderful EXT inverted forks, a proper moto look. They look awesome. And looking at some of the results, they must be going well as well. Wow, that was just packed with amazing tech. I mean, we've got multiple world champions. We've got some incredible bikes. We've got belt drives. I know what my favourite was, and I think I know which one's going to be the fastest. But let me know what one you think is going to be the fastest down in the comments below.